Good evening, YouTube. DutyRon back again on a Saturday night. Late start. I apologize for the late start, but we have another video that we're going to cover. An unfortunate murder-suicide just 2 days after the previous video was reported here in New York City. This is becoming all too the reality of this is just becoming just sicker and sicker as it goes along. So tonight we're going to talk to you about this new case that we have going on. It happened actually as I was speaking to you guys Friday evening. Hello, Bridget. Bridget is the first one in. Thank you for coming in. Married Vlogs, Married Life Vlogs. Thanks for joining. Hey guys, I'm just going to share it out real quick before a bunch of people jump in. So if you can, I appreciate you guys putting it out onto your social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you guys could do. Greatly appreciate that. Let me just do what I got to do, get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way, and then we'll get started. Again, another domestic violence, murder, suicide. Like I said, it was happening as I was speaking to you guys on Friday night. So as I was doing my video, this heinous crime occurred. And I'm going to talk to you about it tonight. Not quite as brutal, not quite as vicious as the Harlem case that we spoke about on Friday, but this one is equally as disturbing. And it's just a sad reminder to all the women out there that you have to keep yourself safe when you feel like you're in a dangerous situation. You got to try to get out of it. Karen, good to see you. Thank you, faithful one. Thanks for joining. Hi, Melody. Melody, great to see you. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Hi, Riley. How are you? I have slow mode on, but I can disable that at any time. I just figured I'd start out in slow mode and then we'd work our way. But let me just share real quick because I haven't done that yet. So let me take care of that real quick. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Tweet it. I'm going to send it out on Twitter. What else could I send it to? Facebook. Let's try Facebook. Where is my Facebook? Oh, there it is. Hey, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Hey, Riley, thank you for coming in. Paula, thanks for joining. Hey, Bridget, I gotta go watch your replay. I saw that you put a video up right before I was just going live, so that was a little bit from in the past. So I gotta go check that out. Let's see. I do have slow mode enabled. Maybe I should take it off. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't like the fact that you guys all have to wait to send a message. Let me just see if Joey Brooklyn is available. We'll get him in here, and then we're going to talk about it. No problem, Bridget. It's okay. Don't worry. Never have to apologize to me. We all have lives going on. We all have lives going on. So, just doing a little bit of this housekeeping here. 2 seconds. Hey, Bang Bang. How are you? Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming in. Bang Bang Kiss Kiss. I love that screen name. Awesome. Awesome sauce. Hey, Mrs. McJagger. Thanks for joining. Thank you for coming in. Thank you. Appreciate you coming on in. All right, I'm almost done. We'll hop right into it. I hate to do this in the beginning. It gets people pissed off, but what am I going to do? I got to do this. I got to do it. Create a community post. Okay, done. All right, guys. So, Tiffany, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Excellent. Hey, listen, it's midnight. It's past midnight, so it's technically Sunday here in the U.S. I know you guys are watching from all over the globe, but in the United States here, it's just a little bit past midnight, so it is Sunday in the morning. But I did have a couple of things I was doing. I was busy tonight with Saturday night activities, so I didn't really get to get to come on earlier. Polka Dot Suzanne, thank you so much for coming in. Good to see you. Hello, Vlogs, Arilano, thank you so much for coming on in. Let's see if we can get Joey Brooklyn on the queue. Let's see if we can get Joey Brooklyn on the queue. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's dragging his feet. I'm live. All right, that's it. I'm done. I just sent Joey a message. Told him I was live. All right, so what we have here is a 27-year-old female victim. She's Guyanese. So Guyanese, very pretty. I have the cover picture up on the on my as my cover photo on the video. 27-year-old Guyanese woman, very pretty, very popular. She worked at a local karaoke bar. She was very popular at her job. She married, and these marriages are all arranged in the Indian culture. I know I have a neighbor across the street and a neighbor next door who they all have, it's all arranged marriages. I know this to be true. So welcome in, welcome. Thank you for joining. So a 27-year-old Guyanese female, her name is Donne Dojoy. It's Donne Dojoy. She was married just in July of this year. Her husband is 33 years old. I will butcher his name, but I'm going to say it. He is the perpetrator. Dinshawn bin Hindat. It's not probably the correct pronunciation, but I really don't care about pronouncing his name right. I got hers the correct pronunciation. I really don't care about him because he's a coward. He murdered her, and he wound up taking his own life. So this is a case out of Ozone Park, Queens. My own NYPD handled the case, and it goes a little bit something like this. Friday night, these two were married in July, and they had a little bit of problems in just 1 month later in August. There was a domestic violence arrest. He supposedly slapped her and choked her in August in an argument at home, and he was arrested, and an order of protection was issued to her. But like a lot of these cases with the domestic violence, females will and males alike will forgive their loved one, which she did. She took him back, and they were trying to work it out. Turns out they weren't able to work it out. Hello, Life of MC. Hello, Atacor. Good to see you. They weren't able to work it out, and sometime in September, she separated from him where they had separate living areas. She got an apartment, or he got an apartment. I think he moved out, and they were trying to make amends. It didn't work out for for their relationship. He was a very, very jealous, very possessive, husband, newlywed, whatever you want to call him. And at the end of the day, they couldn't really work it out. So she had a certain. She was into a mega star from India, and it got her husband enraged when they first got married. So she was watching like movies from this guy. I can't even pronounce his name, but it was a Guyanese Indian movie megastar. I think it's Insley. I can't even pronounce the name, so I'm not even gonna. You'll see it in the article that I play. Thank you so much for the super chat. I love those stickers. Thank you for that, Life of MC. So again, guys, an enraged, jealous, angry husband. They were living separately, and for whatever reason, Friday night, she decided to go over to his apartment and watch a movie with him. This is what sounds so bizarre to me, is she decided on Friday night, I guess things were settling down and it was kind of, maybe things were getting a little bit better. She decided to go over to his apartment, and it was at that time that he wound up sexually assaulting her and stabbing her to death and killing her. He proceeded to sexually assault her, He stabbed her numerous. It said multiple times, so that's going to mean more than one. Thank you so much for the super chat, Life of MC. You better cut it out. I see what you're doing. You better stop it. Thank you, Life of MC, my great friend from the Philippines. So he sexually assaulted her and stabbed her multiple times, and then proceeded to text her sister. He texted her sister that he killed his wife, that he killed her sister, and he left the key underneath a mat, and he was going to kill himself. He wound up taking a short walk over to Spring Creek Park. Now that's the park. I know, I like those. I love the super chat stickers. I really do. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. He took a short walk over to Spring Creek Park. He went over to Spring Creek Park, which is where Karina Vetrano was murdered, and he took a rope and hung himself from a tree. So he took the coward way out. He hung himself from a tree and took his own life and left, his... yeah, you could definitely add that link, the National Domestic Violence Hotline. You definitely can. You definitely can. So Crochet Me Pink, thank you so much for joining. Wilma Burr, thank you so much for coming in. Life of MC, thank you for those super chat stickers. You better stop it, or I'm gonna come and get you. So yeah, this is a really sad situation. I'm just gonna play a quick clip. I have it queued up. I'm gonna play a quick video clip so you guys can get a little bit of a better idea of the story that I'm actually telling you right now. So this way you guys can see what I'm talking about, and I'll play you this clip real quick.
Nominate a deserving person in your life to receive a heating and cooling system from AJ Perry. Go to abc7ny.com to nominate a service person.
Murder in Queens, a 27-year-old woman found in her home, stabbed several times. Meanwhile, not long after that, and 2 miles away, police found the body of a young man who killed himself. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger live at the scene in Ozone Park, where cops tonight connecting the two bodies. Josh.
They are connecting them tonight, according to police sources. Bill, right now you can see crime scene still here on the scene of this grisly homicide. We could show you video as they've been working for the last several hours to collect evidence here on Albert Road. This started around 7:30 this evening when a family member of the man and woman who have lived in that house received a text message, according to police sources, from the man saying he had killed the woman and was going to kill himself. Police arrived here. They found the woman, who was 27 years old, stabbed to death inside that house, and not long after, they found what they believe to be the man's body hanging from a tree in nearby Howard Beach. Police are trying to get to the bottom of what this was all about, but sources tell Eyewitness News that the couple did apparently have a domestic violence history just this past August. Sources say the man was arrested and charged with assault after allegedly choking and slapping that woman. Back live here on the scene, the crime scene unit still here. That vehicle that you see in the background actually is the medical examiner's office, so they are still here working on this scene, and they will be perhaps for quite some time tonight.
Veterans and active military persons have given so much to our country.
Okay, so that was the one major. It's funny. Most of the news outlets were not carrying the story, which I don't understand it. I don't understand why they didn't carry it. But I'm going to give you. Let's see what else we have here. So this is a picture of the two of them when they got married in July of 2019. Hello, Matt Sully. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you coming on in. So this is just some still photos and a news report. I'm just going to read real quick. It says Guyanese newlywed killed by husband in murder-suicide in Queens. A Guyanese woman on Friday night. Like I said, I was doing the Harlem beheading and domestic violence case on Friday night. So this happened sometime while either I was live or just a short time before. It says a Guyanese woman on Friday night stabbed to death in Queens. New York, reportedly by her newlywed husband, 33 years old, Dinwar Buhadat, who later committed suicide. Donnie Dunjoy, known as Rihanna, was found with multiple stab wounds at her husband's home on Albert Road near Whitelaw Street in Ozone Park around 8 o'clock. So it was just a short time before I went live that this happened. Hello, Renee Scott. Thank you so much for joining. So this is 2 violent domestic violence murders in New York City in my own police jurisdiction in under 48 hours. So here's a picture of the victim here at her. This is the actual picture that I used for my cover photo. It says, according to the Daily News, the cops later found the man hanging from a tree about 1.5 miles away from in Spring Creek Park, south of the Bell Parkway. Maddie Sully, you know Spring Creek Park is where Karina Vetrano was killed. Thank you so much for that super chat, Life of MC. You better stop it. I appreciate your generosity, but you don't need to do that. Thank you so much. Jenny, great to see you. Thank you for joining. So, Matty boy, yeah, in your backyard. This is in our own backyard. This is literally, I don't know, this is literally 10, 15 miles from my house, maybe less than that. Newsroom understands the couple just got married in July of this year. The Daily News reports that a hysterical cousin alerted the police after her husband sent her a text saying he had killed his wife and was going to kill himself. Her sister said, he texted me. He killed her. He didn't tell me how. He didn't tell me why. Why me? Why would he have to text me that? He's such a damn coward, says her. Oh, it was her cousin. It wasn't the sister. The cousin who didn't want to be named. This is a statement from the victim's cousin. He said that his cousin who received the text called him. They both rushed over to the apartment. The couple did not live together. Every relationship has problems. I just didn't think these problems would be big enough to result in such violence. So, you can't assume in a domestic violence situation. What we used to always tell everyone, hello, Nanny, good to see you. What we used to tell everyone in the police department, what I would say is, yes, there was an order of protection. What I would say to women or men of domestic violence is, once someone puts their hands on you, it's only going to escalate from there. So when a man or a woman puts their hands on you, there's no turning back from that. There's no getting better. 9 times out of 10, you have a better chance of this thing going wrong. And here is a case in point. It started out in August. There's the links from Bridget Parker to U.S. National Domestic Hotline for Domestic Violence. I'm going to put links in my description and also an 800 number, where another 800 number for local here in the New York metropolitan area. There's going to be links to the New York City Police Department Domestic Violence Unit, and we're going to go and look at that website before I end this broadcast. So she worked at the Gemini's Ultra Lounge on Liberty Avenue. They extend their condolences to her family via Facebook. So it says at the end of this article here, it says, in similar fashion, in January 2018, a 26-year-old Stacy Singh, another Guyanese woman, so just a year ago, January 2018, a little bit over a year ago, a woman, 26 years old, Stacy Singh, Guyanese, was found stabbed to death in her apartment in New York. Around the same time, her husband was discovered hanging from a tree. So there's some significance to these cases right here. I'm gonna expand this so you guys can see. This is a picture of the deceased. This is a picture of the beautiful young woman who was sexually assaulted and then stabbed multiple times by her husband. There's a beautiful picture of her, a very pretty young woman who probably had a very bright future ahead of her. Her life taken out by her jealous, disgusting husband. Any man who takes another woman's or anyone's life and then takes his own is a coward. So here at the bottom, it says right here, I'll highlight the paragraph so you guys can see it. It's highlighted right down here in blue. In similar fashion, in January 2018, 26-year-old Stacy Singh, another Guyanese woman, was found stabbed to death in her apartment in New York. Around the same time, her husband was discovered hanging from a tree. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is a disturbing trend that we're seeing here. Domestic violence is alive and well in all major cities. And this is not something to take lightly. So I plead with the women out there, if you are in an abusive relationship, do not hang around. Do not hang around to let this get out of control. Canadian Witches, thank you for joining. Sophia Howard, how are you? All is well. Joey, she's saying hello to you, Jojo. All right. There's another photo. This is the actual ME's, the medical examiner's truck up on your screen there. That's his body removed from Spring Creek Park. Hello, Caitlin. Good to see you. He hung himself from a tree. The Indian superstar, movie star that she was really into and that made her husband jealous his name is Roshan, Roshan. Roshan. I can't pronounce his first name, but he was insanely jealous over a megastar from India. And her family believes that he murdered her because he was so jealous of her watching this Indian mega movie star. BBT Boston, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you coming on in on the live. Michelle Vogel, thank you for coming in. Yes, interesting that both men hung themselves after murdering their wives. And now this brings me back to Jacob Foreman, a Canadian man who, I think 11 months prior to Chris Watts, killed his wife, killed his 2 baby girls, and in a similar fashion, you know, obviously not exactly the same, but he wiped his family out. And it just made me wonder, you know, like there is the copycat syndrome. Us in law enforcement here and most people who study criminal justice know that the copycat syndrome is something that's a real thing. And I feel that sometimes in these cases, people who are not thinking correctly sometimes look to try to follow suit in a similar fashion to a crime like this. Hello, Mahid. Good to see you. Salam, my friend. Good to see you, my Muslim brother over in Saudi Arabia. Thank you for joining. So I'm going to show you guys a graphic here. But first I'm going to just read quickly. Another synopsis here. It says a Queens man knifed his wife to death, admitted to slaying in a text message to her sister. I was right about that. It wasn't her cousin. Then her sister called a cousin and they both went over together. And then he hung himself from a nearby tree on Friday night, law enforcement sources say. The suspect, who was not immediately identified, killed his 27-year-old wife at home in Ozone Park. He then texted the woman's sister to tell her that his wife was dead inside the house and that there was a spare key under a flower pot. Police sources added. The sister rushed to the home at around 7:30 p.m., used the key to get inside, where she discovered her sister's body. Police conducted a helicopter search of the surrounding area, found the husband hanging from a tree in a wooded area off 165th Street in 165th Avenue in Howard Beach. So, yeah, I agree, Tiff. I agree. It is. It's a phenomenon. It's something that we do study. And why do you think he went to the park to hang himself? Atticor, I don't know. We don't. None of us know. But you know, he did take the cowardly way out. You know, he took his own life. So he'll have to pay the price for that. Thank you so much, Jonna, for the super chat. Gabrielle, thank you so much for coming in. God bless you and your family as well. Thank you for being in on the broadcast. How's the audio? I hope the mic is okay and the levels are good. I made an adjustment and I added a a bass enhancer to the mic, so I don't know if that sounds a little too much. I'm kind of self-monitoring with headphones tonight, and it sounds pretty decent. Excellent, Jonna. Thank you. All right. So the suspect was arrested for strangling his wife in August, law enforcement sources say. A distraught woman at the scene of the murder Friday night said that she had helped the slain wife move out of the house because she feared for her safety. I moved her out, said the neighbor. I can't believe this happened. I moved her out because she left him. They were fighting. The woman identified only as Wanda. She said, I moved her out for her own safety. And I told her, do not go back there. Unfortunately, she went back on Friday night to watch a movie and maybe try to make amends with him, and he wound up sexually assaulting her. And that's not reported here, but I called up my friend in the mayor's office. He's a part of DCPI. That's the department that communicates with the media. And I called up my friend. He didn't answer because it was Saturday night, but I sent him a text and I asked him about the case. And he knows I have a YouTube channel, so he texted me back that that she was it's not reported in the media, but she was sexually assaulted and then stabbed. So there was signs of sexual assault, which is so unfortunate. It makes it so much more heinous and so much it just sickens me when you hear things like this. I, of all people, know about this evil that's out there because we used to face it, head on. Summer Rains, thanks for coming in. It's just another real touchy thing here. So she moved her out. I told her not to go back. Identities are being withheld pending family notification. This is an older article. The identities are released. Love and respect right back to you. Thank you. Hi, Daphne. I liked your Instagram pictures. The wine and the pizza look delish. Debbie D Vlogs, thanks for joining. Thank you so much. The pill, 100%. I agree, 100%. Guys, if you haven't invited or shared out onto your social, please put it out onto Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook if you can. Or if you have a public post, just put it out on a public post. I greatly appreciate that. And if you're not subscribed, hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, give me that 30-day money-back guarantee chance. I'll do my best to make you happy and keep you coming back. So if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Greatly appreciate that. Janet, good to see you. Paula, thank you so much for coming in. She's busy working, but she can't chat much, but she's listening. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, Maddie, that was a good subscribe little bit there. All right, let's go to this now. My ex-husband was court-ordered to too many count. Wow, it didn't work. Listen, I don't even want to say this, but I'm going to have to tell you guys. I've taken more orders of protections out of women's pockets after being killed or being really severely injured where they're knocked out unconscious and they're not able to speak than I'd like to talk about. So, orders of protections are pieces of paper. Laws are on the books and they get broken. It's part of the reason why I talk so much about when we discuss gun control. And this is another, I'm going off topic here, but when the Democrats and all the politicians that don't know anything about what goes on out in the street and in the crime world, then they talk about after a mass shooting or an awful crime happening, we're going to put stronger laws on the books. It's the same concept with an order of protection. It's like a law. It's like an order given out by a judge to an individual, and that's supposed to make this individual feel safe. It just doesn't work, you know. And like I said, I've taken many bloody order of protections out of women's pockets or out of their purses, and it just doesn't do anything, you know. So you got to really take precautions to keep yourself safe. When you know that you have a potential person, Gail B., much respect right back to you. When you have a person who exhibits violent behavior, I don't care if it's your husband, your boyfriend, your brother-in-law, your, neighbor, a friend, a coworker, anybody that exhibits violent behavior. And I have a video here. I won't play it, but I watched the video tonight of another woman last year, another Queens stabbing. It was a woman who was working in a beauty salon, and her ex-husband, who she had an order of protection against in Queens, Maddie, you probably remember this, he came into the shop. They told him to get out, the women that worked at the shop, protecting and shielding this woman. He left, and he came back with a big butcher knife. And on video, I watched it tonight, he came in and he proceeded to stab her to death right at her chair. I watched the video. I have it in my queue. I just won't play it because I don't want to frazzle anybody here. It's really a tough thing to watch. She had an order of protection on her, in her pocket, in her back pocket, and then she's dead. And I watched him take a butcher knife and over his shoulder just stab her repeatedly on video. And one of the girls tried to stop him. She grabbed his arm, but he was too strong. They all called the cops, and the police came, and he was on top of his ex-wife crying when the police came, and he tried to kill himself. He slit his wrists with that knife. He was a bloody mess. But the video shows the cops coming in and tackling this guy off of she was already passed away. But he was upset over it. So just a sad reminder of, what potential could be going on. You never know what's going on in someone's head and what their potential is and what they're capable of doing. So don't ever underestimate someone who makes threats to you. You got to take the threats like they're very serious. Don't say, oh, he's just talking crap. He's just talking smack. Let me show you a graphic for domestic violence. Here's a report from the New York City Police Department. You're welcome, Mary. My pleasure. Here's a graphic from the NYPD. Some of the stuff might, be confusing to some that aren't used to looking at these reports. But this is an annual report that's available online. Anybody can go and look at this report. But I'm going to expand it. It's the New York City Domestic Violence Fatality Review Committee. And it's the 2019 annual report. And this documents domestic violence, and it breaks it down in so many different ways. It breaks it down by, race, gender, husband, wife, wife, straight out regular domestic violence between mother and son and, brother, sister. It's just all different. So there's a lot of stuff here, but I'm going to show you some of the key points. And this is just for New York City. That's the 5 boroughs. New York, that's Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, and the Bronx. So this doesn't cover the whole state of New York. This covers a very small area. So this is just a small area. The state of New York is so huge. Yes, thumbs up. Thank you, Jonna. I appreciate that. Let me see. I haven't shared onto my. We haven't shared onto the DutyRon crime or the DutyRon video share group. I didn't want to take more time from it. So if someone could do that for me, I greatly appreciate that. And I'm sorry that I asked people to do that. It's just that I got to figure out a way to share to that group without taking time out from the broadcast. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. And thank you to Life of MC for the super chats, and Jonna and everybody else. I love the super chat stickers. That's new from YouTube. Mahid, if we had the answers to those, I mean, questions, unfortunately we don't. There's no rhythm or rhyme to it. So, thank you, Bridget. I appreciate it. Thank you, my dear. So let me scroll back and look at a little bit of the chat. Co-workers too. It was a co-worker that murdered my cousin in Manhattan. Horrible, horrible. So sorry to hear that. All right, let's look at the domestic violence. You guys are going to be surprised at this. This is from New York City, 2019. Okay, so I'm going to read the introduction here. Can you guys see this print, or should I make it bigger? I'll make this bigger. Is that better for you guys? Let me know in the chat if that's better. Can you guys see that better? That's about as large as I can get it without it becoming, let's see. Oh, there we go. And that's 220 degrees. That's 220, 250% now. So, hold on. I had it good. I think that's as good as it's going to get right there. All right, so introduction from 20. I'll highlight what I'm reading. From 2010 through 2018 in New York City, there were 558 domestic violence homicides involving 599 victims. Domestic violence homicides accounted for 17.6%. 599 of 3,412 homicides that occurred between 2010 and 2018. So it's this is over an 8-year period, guys. During this period, the annual average count of domestic violence homicides were 67 victims every year. That's just in New York City, guys. 67 victims of domestic violence homicide. Okay, that's men and women, children. Everything is included in that figure. Capturing the most extreme outcomes, domestic violence homicides make up only a small fraction of all domestic violence related offenses. So, this report begins with the comparison of 2018 intimate partner homicides with 2017 intimate partner homicides, focusing on their demographic and incident characteristics, including borough and weapon used. So it's breaking it down by where it happened and what weapon was used to commit the homicide, and subtypes, that is, intimate partner homicide, other family homicide, by summarizing victims and perpetrators' age, sex, race, ethnicity. That caught my tongue. As well as incident characteristics. That's as big as I can get it, K. Burnett. That's as big as I can get it. Because otherwise it stretches too far out through the screen. All right, so you're going to want to stick around for this. All right, I'm not really paying attention to the chat because I want to stay focused. New York City Police Department data on domestic violence, homicide, victims, and perpetrators, sex, race, are collected and reported by the Fatality Review Committee. These demographics data elements do not accurately capture the affected individual's self-identified gender and race. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, just the definition of homicides. Here's figure 1. This is giving the breakdown in in a graph. In 2010, we had 77 homicides by domestic violence. 2011, 96. 2012, 79. 2013, 63. You see how it's fluctuating, but it's all pretty much in the 60s. 67 in 2014, 49 in 2015, 63 in 2016, 50 murders in 2017, and then 55 in 2018. This is all domestic violence. Domestic violence homicides increased by 10% from 50 in 2017 to 55 in 2018. So it was a 10% increase over 2017 and 2018. Intimate partner homicides increased by 15% from 26 in 2017 to 30 in 2018. So this, ladies and gentlemen, gives you a comparison just here in New York City. You can imagine, hello, Grog Vaughn, thank you for coming in. You can imagine how it is in the city of, say, Los Angeles. You're going to have similar numbers, maybe bigger because it's a larger area. Dell 88, sorry, thank you so much for coming in. Miami, you're going to have Atlanta. All the major cities have these reports available to them throughout the United States. So here's an interesting demographic and characteristics. It breaks it down by sex. So in 2018, out of the 30 homicides, 22 were female and 8 were male. So this is what I'm reading right here. This graphic in the top of your screen. Let me pull that up so you guys can see it. It's at the top. So male 20, female 22, male 8, and then in 2017 it was 21 and 5. And then they break it down by the boroughs. 13 of them were in the Bronx, 8 in Brooklyn, 2 in Manhattan, 6 in Queens, 1 murder in Staten Island. Here it breaks it down by race and ethnicity. Why am I having a hard time with that tonight? 1 Asian, 13 are black, 13 Hispanic, 3 white, and so on. And now it breaks it down by weapon. So it's a detailed report. Cutting and knife, 17, 8 of firearm, blunt trauma, 0, asphyxiation, 1, physical force, 1, strangulation, 0s across the board, and then other. I wonder what the other is. The majority of domestic violence homicide victims are female, as stated here. Yeah, no hate here. No hate. Our motto here is don't hate, appreciate. Don't hate, appreciate. A majority, 59.9% of domestic violence homicides victims are female. 359 out of the 599 domestic violence homicides over that 8-year period were female. So 59% are females. 359 out of 599 domestic violence homicides in the city of New York were female. More than 3 out of 4 intimate partner homicides victims are female. Males account for a higher percentage other than family homicide victims compared to intimate partner homicide victims. So here's another race and ethnicity. I'm not even saying that anymore. Good gravy. Okay. So figure 3 breaks it down into the groups. As you can see, the The purple is Asian, the light blue is black, the pink-ish is Hispanic, and the yellow is white. As you can see, the majority, 50% of these victims are African American. 7.5% are Asian, 26.9%, almost 27% are Hispanic, 14.2% were white. Yeah, tongue twister. I'm having a hard time with that. Ethnicity. I don't know why. Okay, so that was an interesting graphic right there. Right? Broke it down by, and you saw that the majority of over 50% were black with African American. So a little bit of info that maybe some of you wouldn't have been privy to. I get this information through, my knowledge. I know that the NYPD is. It's Saturday night into Sunday morning. I'm up for the haul. I'm up for the long haul, Michelle. Hi, Gemma. How are you? More homes have knives and guns. Doesn't surprise me. There you go, Grog. Grog. Is it Grog or Grog? I think it's Grog. Yeah. There's a knife in every home. There's a knife in everybody's home. So black individuals account for the 50% of the domestic violence homicides. Hispanics account for 26.9%, and so on and so forth. Age. Almost 20% of the domestic violence homicides involve a child, victim 10 years age or younger. I'm good. I don't need to sleep. It makes more sense to me seeing it on a graph. Thank you. There you go, Carol. You're welcome. You're welcome. Hi, Frog Pusher Eye. How are you, Frog? So almost 20% of domestic violence homicides involve a child, victim 10 years of age or younger. That's sad. That's really sad. Let's take a look at this. I hope I'm not boring you guys with this. Horrible, Deb. Horrible. My prayers, my thoughts are with your family. That's horrible. Horrible. Yeah, nobody looks like a criminal or an abuser. I mean, abusers are criminals. So I think, it's more up close and personal. You got your hands on when you stab someone with a knife. You're pretty much hands on. It's not like shooting them from a distance with the gun. Okay, so figure 4 shows New York City domestic violences by age and by subgroups, intimate partner and other family. This is, again, from 2010 to 2018. And the total number is 599 victims. That's a large number of homicides by domestic violence. This is alarming, This is alarming, and it should send out a message to everyone to really take every bit and every ounce of domestic violence very seriously. And I'm not saying that there's a large number of domestic violence cases that go without murder. They do. There's a large number that go without someone being killed. But the damage that's done from domestic violence stays for a lifetime, as we know. And a lot of people here in the chat are victims of domestic violence. And anybody that wants to come forward and speak with me on the side about it, you can just send me an email, DutyRon@AOL.com, or hit me up on any social media, on a DM. Keep it private. I wouldn't ask you to speak about it here in the chat. But here's the figures. Okay. The purple is from 1 year old till 10. The light blue is 11 to 17. The purple, the lighter color purple is 18 to 29, and so on and so forth. Thank you for that, Bridge. So it looks like 19.2% of the 599 were age 1 to 10. That's almost that's sick. And then the second grouping is just 2%, age 11 to 17, and then it shoots back up to 19.4%. TTNZ, great to see you. Summer Rains, I'm glad that you survived it, and I'm glad that you're here to speak about it. I love that you're here to speak about it. Mental abuse is terrible, K. Burnett. I agree. Anybody here that's just joining, please hit the subscribe button, hit your notification bell, and if you can, share it on out. My name is DutyRon, retired NYPD detective, 20 plus years in the NYPD, and we are talking about domestic violence here tonight. So the figures go up after 11 to 17, from 18 to 29 up, back up to 19%, and then from 30 to 39, 16%, 40 to 49, 15%, and it starts to decline, 14.5% in the 50 to 59 bracket, and then 60 and over, 12.2%. So, yes, thank you for the thumbs up. Excellent, Sophia. God bless those grandsons of yours. Good boys. My father was mentally abusive, especially when he was drunk. Dad knew better and he hit my mom, even if he was drunk. Yeah, that's tough, Trev. That's tough. Agreed. Our daughter walked away from her marriage when her husband... Yep, that's what you got to do. Good for her. Kudos to her. Shared you out. Thank you, Gemma. You're a doll. Thank you. My close friend left and survived DV months ago. He went to harm her and her children. Outstanding. Kudos to her. Kudos to her. So this is a graph that's disturbing, to say the least. Almost 1 out of every 5, that's 19.2% of 115. That's 115 aged 1 or younger. That's from infant to age 10. 19.2% of the 599 victims. That's 115 little babies from the age less newborn to 10 years old were domestic violence homicide victims. One out of every 4, 26.7%, 160 of the 599 domestic homicides and intimate partner homicides, 8 out of 3, 80%, wow, 80 out of 310 involve a victim age 50 and over. The way they break this down is just incredible. Number of intimate partner homicide victims was similar in the 18 to 29 range, in the 30 to 39, and the 40 to 49 range. The average age of the victims was 40 years old, and the median range was 39. Thank you to everyone who's given Super Chat during this broadcast. As you guys know, these type of broadcasts, 9 times out of 10, do not qualify for AdSense. So they won't run ads, or they'll run limited ads on these videos. So the only way that a content creator like myself would, monetize from it would be through Super Chat. And, I greatly appreciate that, whoever does send it. I know lots of you can't do it, and I understand, and it's not necessary. But I want to just say thank you to the ones that do. I greatly appreciate it. So let's continue on with this graph. We're almost done. And here's the breakdown. You get enough of New York from all the YouTubers, right? Life of MC. And I feel like I'm in the Philippines because I watch so many Philippine broadcasts. I feel like I'm in the Philippines. So I got to come visit. All right, so this is the borough of Bronx. The borough of Bronx had the highest rate of domestic violence homicides. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why the Bronx, in my eyes, this is my 2 cents on the Bronx. It has a higher percentage of black and Hispanic than any other borough. Cut it out, Life of MC. Thank you so much for the super love. Thank you. Look at that. #1 fan. Life of MC is my #1 fan. Summer Rains, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, she says, to DutyRon. Thank you for sharing awareness. This is the best possible thing that I could do, I feel, in my eyes. KDF is in the building. Love and respect. Thank you, Summer Rains, for the generous super chat. Much appreciated. So the Bronx has the highest population of Hispanic and Black, and as you see from the graph, the numbers don't lie. And this has nothing to do with being a racist or anything like that. And I'm just trying to give you, anybody on the replay, I know everybody here knows what I'm about, but these are demographics. These things don't lie. You saw the highest number of domestic violence victims. 50% were African American, were Black. And then the 26% were Hispanic, and then it went down from there. Asian was 1%. So yeah, no, they won't put any ads. This is already I already checked. It's already not monetized. I don't care. I'm not doing it for that. I'm just telling you guys that, you know, a lot of people shy away from talking about this stuff because it's not beneficial to them financially. But it's really not that big of a concern to me, but I just have to put it out there. For anyone who wants to try to do this, you know, you could do it. It's just that YouTube, the advertisers don't think that it's worth it. Anyways, so here's a figure. The Bronx had the highest rate of domestic violence homicides between 2010 and 2018. And Brooklyn was second, Manhattan third. Okay, so Brooklyn had the highest number of domestic violence homicides of any borough, 186 out of the 599. Joey, are you here? Joey Brooklyn, are you still here? Jojo. I do not live in the Bronx. I do not live in the Bronx. I don't live in the 5 boroughs. So Joey, Brooklyn had the highest number of domestic violence homicides of any borough, 186. The Bronx had the highest rate of domestic violence homicides, 1.40 per 100,000 residents. So, how many of you guys are impressed by this report? I'm raising my hand. I'm impressed by this report. I mean, this is very, very detailed. Yeah, Joey, I'm happy that you're not a statistic. We need good people like you in the world, and your wife and your family. Joey Brooklyn, I can't say enough good about him. If anybody that's in here that's not subscribed to Joey Brooklyn, I implore you to go and subscribe to Joey Brooklyn. Please go subscribe to Joey Brooklyn. Janet Williams says, me. Sophia Howard said, so much love in this chat. I agree. What do we have? I can't even see the numbers. My phone, my secondary device says there's 14 people here. I don't know why I can never get an accurate number of who's in the building. So I guess I'll never be able to conquer that. I don't know why. It doesn't show me the right thing. It's weird. But anyways, okay, so let's continue. It says the Bronx had the highest number rate of intimate partnership homicides with 97 and 0.99 per 100,000 residents. Carolyn says, I've always had strong and safe relationships with men in my life. This week we'll be celebrating 20-year anniversary. Women relationships, on the other hand, a different story. Women can be vicious, man. Yours says 58. Okay, cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Comstat. This is not Comstat. This is a different kind of report. This is not Comstat. So, why does the Bronx have such a high DV rate? It's per 100,000 residents. So they have less residents than Brooklyn, and that's why. Thank you for subscribing, Vale Artist, to Joey Brooklyn. Thank you. 57 watching. Thanks, Life of MC. Thank you. All right, I'm behind on the chat. DutyRon, do you think the domestic violence has become worse, or is just we're more aware of it? I don't think it's become worse. This is an 8-year look back, and you see how it stays stable. Look, this is 8 years worth of. Here's the graph for 2010 to 2018. Look at the numbers. And I could tell you, when I was a police officer in the 90s, I started in early 1990. There's not a big change. It's not like we had many more domestic violence. I think this is something that stays level and steady, which is unfortunate, but because of the family dynamic and relationships, the domestic violence, you might be surprised of how much higher it is in the country. Like when you go in the South or into the areas where they're not keeping records like this, a lot more people are getting killed outside the inner city in the country than you would like to think. So I'm not just saying that to blow smoke up your butt. I got a feeling that these numbers could be big in some of the areas that don't keep records like this. Yeah, 70s and 60s and 70s, Michelle, it was hush-hush. It never even got reported. You just would take it. You'd see a wife walking around with a stake on her eye. You could walk down the block and you'd see little Johnny's mom come out with a stake on her eye. And you'd be like, all right, let's go back to playing stickball in the street. Intimate partner. The Life of MC is thinking about that for a minute. All right, so in focus, intimate, as you were saying, the Life of MC, intimate partner homicides, 2010 to 2018. So here's the graph for intimate partners, victims and perpetrator demographics. And if you could see this graph here, many of the calls on NYPD are DV, absolutely. Bruises and black eyes, says Polka Dot Suzanne. Yep. So it is what it is, and it's unfortunate. Okay. I don't want that. Driver support. All right, so male, this is male victims for intimate partner homicides. 2% Asian, less than 1%. 2 victims were Asian, 6.3% of the New York City population. Black victims, 35, 11.4%. Hispanic, 27, 8.8%. And then white, 10, only 3.3%. So it's one of the most dangerous calls of domestic violence. It's a fact. So everybody knows everyone's business. Tough to accuse a nice guy around town. Yeah, the sheriff doesn't want to take in a guy that might be lining the pockets of some of the politicians and taking care of some of the local businesses and things of that nature. I know how that goes. Summer Rains, there's reports on domestic violence websites and many domestic violence nonprofit organizations. A lot of it has to do with alcohol abuse and drug abuse, mental illness, jealousy in relationships. There's so many factors that go into play with this. But I think the number one is drugs and alcohol abuse. People aren't thinking level head when they're drunk and they're high, and that's when people get heavy-handed. Men, in particular, when they get their beer goggles going, they are always heavy-handed, even with themselves. I used to have fights with my friends all the time when they would get drunk. So here again is another graph of the female side of intimate partner homicides from domestic violence. And it looks like it's Asian, 20, 6.5%, Black, 95, 30%, Hispanic, again, 25. I mean, look at these numbers. It's white, 41. It's up to 13.4%. It's just predominantly in the 5 boroughs in New York City. It's over 50% victims are African American. So financial stress is a smaller part of it, Vale, but it is a part. There's so many moving parts to it. But I would say, she asked me what the main focus, what drives domestic violence is alcohol abuse and drug abuse. A combination of most people who are abusing the drugs and alcohol have also, on top of it, some form of mental health issue going on. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not singling anybody out and saying that, we have a crisis in this country and throughout the world. It's a mental health crisis. Serious. And that plays a factor into it. I'm getting to the bottom of the graph. So black females were disproportionately affected by intimate partner homicides. Black females accounted for 30.9% of intimate partner homicides, while they account for 13% of the population in New York City. Wow. They have figures for there too, Joe. I just wanted to do the NYPD because the cases that I'm talking about the last 2 nights involve domestic violence homicides here in the 5 boroughs. So I figured if I showed the graphs from Nassau and Suffolk, it wouldn't be relevant to this. I'm talking. I'm trying to wrap this into the case that we're talking about tonight and the night before last. So, victims, age, and sex. Females age 40 to 49 have the highest rate of intimate partner homicides. So 40 to 49 is the highest number here in the 5 boroughs. Thank you for subscribing to JoJo. Thank you for subscribing to Joey Brooklyn. And everybody subscribe to Life of MC. Life of MC is from the Philippines. She is awesome. She goes live all the time. And she is super sweet. She goes out of her way to acknowledge everybody in her live streams. And she does pocketbook and makeup reviews and clothing and cars and shooting. She's a world-class shooter. Life of MC is awesome. Awesome. I give her 2 thumbs up because I love to watch her videos. And she's in the Philippines, and she's a beautiful woman inside and out. So I implore you guys to go also and subscribe to. She's right there. She's a moderator. Life of MC. Katie, F, Jonna, all of my moderators. Bridget Parker. She's got a wonderful channel over in Australia. She can put a prawn on the Barbie like no other. She's a rockin' crime channel. She knows her shit, and she does a lot of research, probably a lot more than I ever do. And I hope to one day get together with Bridget and do 1 or 2 videos together on a Zoom in the future. No pressure, Bridget. But go and subscribe to Bridget Parker. She is freaking awesome. I mean, I give her 2 thumbs up. All these people I speak of, you should go and check out. She did a wonderful broadcast tonight and last night. I know Atiana's father passed away. I saw that in the news, and she got right on the horn and did a broadcast about it tonight. So go and watch her replay. It's up on the DutyRon YouTube video share group on Facebook. And if it's not up there, then shame on you, Bridget. It should be there. In the DutyRon crime chat and probably in her Facebook group. If you want to put the links to your Facebook group, Bridget, go ahead. Okay, so perpetrators. This is interesting. I of course I looked at this before. I showed you guys, obviously. This one was interesting to me because this breaks it down. Perpetrator age. Males are the perpetrator in almost 80% of intimate partner homicides. 80%. 80% of the homicides in the intimate partner category are males. Age 15 to 17, 0% of the males were perpetrators. One female in the ages of 15 to 17. 18 to 29, 55 male perpetrators. 30 to 39, it goes up to 62 versus 18 on the female side. 40 to 49, 57 perps. And then 10 females. 50 to 59, 53. And 6 on the female side. 60 to 69, wow. 12 perpetrators in the age of 60 to 69. 2 female. 12 male. 70 plus. 10 70-plus year old men killed their female partners. That's freaking shocking. Males 70 plus 10, 3.2%. And then even the 60 to 69, it was 12. And then 2 females in the ages of 60 to 69 committed domestic violence homicide. This is interesting stuff. I mean, I know I may be boring some of you guys, but 249 perpetrators committed 599 homicides over an 8-year period. It is shocking. You're not going to find this information on anybody's channel. I can say this hands down. You can look all over YouTube and you won't see anybody talk about this. So I'm proud and I'm happy to bring this to you guys. I hope that we can touch 1 or 2 women or men out there that watch this replay. And that's why I ask you guys to share the crap out of this, because this alone right here could be the difference between life and death for somebody. Because if somebody watches this in full and really pays attention, they could potentially get the right message and say, hey, I got to get out of here before I get killed. You know? So I'm proud to bring this. And this is all part of my law enforcement, way of life. I mean, I became a police officer at age 26. And until I take my last breath, I'll be a cop all the way through and through, no matter what. Thank you so much for the super chat sticker. I love that. Look at that. Thank you. And it's like appropriate for the combo, right? Life of MC, thank you so much. If you don't mind, that'd be great. Katie, thank you. I'm only going to be live for another 20 minutes, if that. Okay, so perpetrator's age is unknown for one intimate partner homicide in 2013. So they didn't know the age on the person. So I'm proud to bring this on YouTube, and I don't feel like I accidentally saved a woman's life. She was being choked in a stairwell. That is not an act. That is awesome. Excellent. Excellent. Karen, awesome. Awesome sauce. That's great stuff, Mary Swampy. I love it. All right, let's continue on because I got to finish this up. Intimate partner homicides 2010 to 2018. Incident characteristics: weapon, method, Knife or cutting instruments are used in almost half of all intimate partner homicides. Weapon method, not a gun, knives or cutting instruments are used in almost half of all intimate partner homicides. That is unbelievable. So a knife is what was used in half of these homicides. 23.5% were firearms. 12.9% were blunt trauma. That's being either hit with a brick or a blunt object. Asphyxiation, 5.8%. 3.5% is strangulation. Asphyxiation, for those of you who don't know, is smothering with a pillow or duct tape or some other type of method to stop someone from breathing, putting a bag over someone's head and tying it. Strangulation is self-explanatory. It's with the hands or put in a chokehold or a neck arm lock. You could choke someone with a leg move, a wrestling move. Physical force, only 1.3% is by physical force. That would be punching, sitting on somebody, on their chest. Something of that nature. Knife and cutting instrument, 49.7%. So knives or a cutting instrument is what was done in 50%, damn near 50% of these 599 domestic violence homicides over an 8-year period. And that's, along the longer period of time, the more you have data. And so the longer the period of time goes by, the better data that you have, because it shows you trends. It shows the trend of what goes on. Anybody that is victims of domestic violence in any form, I implore you to go immediately to your police, local police or sheriff, your district attorney office, your local court, and do something about it. Get yourself out of the situation. If you have to leave everything behind, remember, things and items can be replaced. A life cannot be replaced. All right, so this is an interesting graph. You see it right there in the middle. I'm hoping that that's clear to most of you guys. What would malicious over-medicating to abuse? I didn't see the whole thing. Kelly, because that's really what the news wants to report, because it gets them ratings, Kelly. When small town people get killed or something happens in the middle of the country, that's not going to make news because it's not going to get them ratings. Everything on the news is driven by views and ratings. Okay, so firearms are used in 23.5% of these 599 domestic violence homicides over a 8-year period. That's 73 of 310 intimate partner homicides. Perpetrator-victim relationships. 4 out of 10 intimate partnered homicides were current boyfriend/girlfriend of the perpetrator. So 4 out of 10 partner homicides, intimate partner homicides, the victims were current boyfriend/girlfriends of the perpetrator. Opposite sex, boyfriend-girlfriend, 126 homicides. That's 40%. Spouse, 89. That's 28%. Common law. And when I say common law, that's if you live with somebody for more than here in New York, if it's more than a year and you're living together, you're considered common law husband and wife. So that's the reference to common law. And then child in common is self-explanatory. Same-sex, boyfriend, girlfriend. Ex-boyfriend was 14 and then other was 4. Okay, location. 4 out of 5 intimate partner homicides occurred in a residence, usually the residence of the victim. Wow. 4 out of 5 homicides occur in the residence, usually the residence of the victim. That's a good idea. I like it. Good morning, Story of Motherhood. Thank you for joining. Please help me pack my bags. Yeah, you definitely got to make a plan. That's a fact. I'm going to give you guys a link to the domestic violence hotline from the NYPD before we go. So I'll put that out at the end. And I'll also link up in my description an actual clickable link. So look at this. Places of occurrence. Sidewalk, on the street. That means sidewalk means on the street. 10.6%. Residence of the victim. Look at this graph. Takes up 71.5% of this pie chart. 10% is the sidewalk. Residence of another, 8.6. In a car, 3%. Other, 3%. Unknown, 2.9. And a mere 1% in a hotel. Yeah, leave the stuff, take the kids. You can replace things, but you can't replace a life. Slow mode has slowed me down. Let's take slow mode off. Hold on, guys. Let's take slow mode off. Stand by. Okay, slow mode off. Slow mode is off. Chat away. Let the floodgates open. Floodgates are now open. You are now free to move about the cabin. Your captain has turned off the no smoking sign. Please feel free to move throughout the cabin as you will. Story of Motherhood. I did that for you. Okay. I had to put a little comedy into this because this is kind of this wears you out. This can wear you out, but it's something that's needs to be spoken about. So, all right. So the highest number of intimate homicides, partner homicides, occur in a residence. 80.1%. That's 242 out of 302. 71.5% occurring in a residence of the actual victim. That means these women are being killed in their own homes. There you go, Karen. This is the intimate partner homicides contact and reported history with city agencies. This section explores the documented pre-incident contacts between city agencies that are members of the New York City Domestic Violence Fatality Review Committee and the 310 victims and 313 perpetrators of intimate partner homicides between 2010 and 2018. For all agencies except the NYPD and New York City Probation, the contact reference below occurred within the 12-month period prior to the homicide. For NYPD, contact refers to contact at any time prior to that involved. Okay, so this is going to break down how many women made reports before being killed. Wow. So between 2010 and 2018, the Department for Aging, that's for the elderly, did not have any contact with the victims or perpetrators of intimate partner homicides involving victims aged 60 or older in a 12-month period prior to the homicide. The ACS, Administration for Child Services, between 2010 and 2018, had contact with only 6 victims. That's only 1.9%. 6 victims out of 310. And 6 perpetrators. That's crazy. Wow. The Department of Homeless Services, the DHS, between 2010 and 2018, had contact with 15 victims, 4.8%, 5 of 310, and 23 perpetrators, 7 of 23, in the 12 months prior to the homicide. Human Resources Administration, the HRA, between 2010 and 2018, had contact with 21 victims, 6.8%. Wow. New York City Mayor's Office and End Domestic Violence and Gender-Based Violence, between 2010 and 2018, had contact with 17 victims, only 5.5%, and 1.6% of the perpetrators. These are not good figures. This shows you that people are not making reports. Here's 11% to NYCHA, New York City Housing Authority. Probation Department, 3.3%. The New York City Police Department had a reported history of the victims and perpetrators of 40.3%. So 40% of these victims made reports, minimum reports, with the police department before being killed by their domestic partner. Wow. And this breaks down the intimate partner homicide suicide from 2010 to 2018, 15.6%, 48 of 310 intimate partner homicides were followed up by a perpetrator suicide. So only 15% of the perpetrators that commit these murders commit suicide afterwards. It just shows you how much of a coward, how cowardly these people are. So only 15% take their own lives after taking somebody else's. I'll link a description. I'll put in my description a link to this graph so you guys can go and watch it yourself and look at it, study it, read it up. There's another graph here. Almost all intimate partner homicide suicide victims are females. Almost all. That's 95%. Intimate partner homicide suicide. Intimate partner homicide without suicide is 75%. Wow. Unbelievable. Really, really unbelievable. All right. A lot of this is repetitive. More intimate partner homicide suicides involve firearms, whereas more intimate partner homicides without a suicide involve a knife or cutting instrument. That's interesting. So it says more intimate partner homicide suicides involve a firearm, whereas more intimate partner homicides without the suicide involve knife or cutting instruments. So there's the graph for gun. Knife is the orange color. A firearm was used in 62% of all, 62%, 30 of 48 intimate partner homicide suicides, and 16.4% of intimate partner homicides. A knife was used in more than half of the intimate partner homicides, and 20%, 10 of 48 of intimate partner homicides / suicides. Wow. This is a lot of info, man. And this is really good because it breaks down everything that I just spoke about. No prior contact with police, active order protections, comparison of domestic violence history, intimate partner homicide suicide, intimate partner homicide without suicide with order of protections. Active order protections. Intimate partner homicide suicide, 8.3%. Only 8.3% had active order protections. Intimate partner homicides without the suicide, 14.5%. had order of protections. Bridget, I hope you feel better. Is she leaving? Hold on. I got to go lay down. I got a case of the dizzies. Rest up, my dear. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for hanging in there all this time. I appreciate it. Everybody go subscribe to Bridget Parker. Okay, let's move along. I'm almost done. Conclusion: intimate partner homicides involve the suicide of the perpetrator. Present unique characteristics when compared to other intimate partner homicides without suicide, which include 1, female spouse being almost exclusively the victim, 2, a firearm being the predominant weapon of choice, and 3, less law enforcement involvement through the reporting of previous domestic violence incidents. So this is really knives are very dangerous. This is really detailed stuff. So I'm going to end it here. I'm going to link this description to this report, and the report is called New York City Domestic Violence Fatality Review Committee, the 2019 annual report. So I'm going to take the camera off of this graphic, and here I am. I had my headphones on that whole time because I was self-monitoring. So I'm actually here. This is who was speaking that whole time. Thank you for all the new subscriptions, the super chat from everybody. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Again, ladies, please, please, I beg of you, if you're in a relationship where there's even a remote amount of domestic violence, get out, walk away, take your kids, take your family, secure them, make sure they're safe. And then once you start the wheel, now you have to be on guard all the time. Don't go and meet your significant other if you're in the middle of some type of breakup, and don't go see him alone. Bring a guy friend with you. Bring somebody that can help protect you. I know it sounds harsh, and I know it's scary, but if once you get the wheel going and you start to try to do something, at that point you have to be on guard all the time. You need to bring somebody when you have a meeting. You call, if you can't bring someone, you call the police and you have the police escort you. You know? Thank you, the pill. Thank you. Make sure you have someone come with you to your meeting. Don't go alone. A lot of times that ends in someone getting hurt or killed. It always starts with more times than not, it starts with verbal abuse, and then it proceeds, it escalates to a slap or a push or a nudge, and there's no turning back from it. It's just a vicious cycle. So make sure you guys protect yourselves and always be on guard. When you have someone that is jealous, that is heavy-handed, that makes threats to you, you have to protect yourself. So again, guys, we spent a lot of time live. It's an hour and 30 minutes. I way overstepped my bounds with time. So make sure you subscribe. Leave me some comments somewhere down here in the comments section. Let me know that you like this video. Definitely call a police officer if you need them. Don't ever be afraid to call 911 because we are here for your, safety. That's what our jobs are, is to respond whether you think it's not necessary or not. Let us make that decision. Call 911 and get the police there. I don't go out. I won't either. What do you mean you don't go out? What are you talking about? You don't go out. You got it, Joey. My pleasure, brother. All right, girls and boys, I'm going to go to bed because it's around 1:30 in the morning. It's like 1:30 in the morning here. I know it's 1:30 in the afternoon in the Philippines. So much love to each and every one of you. Thank you for the Super Chat stickers. I love the stickers. Thank you for the regular Super Chat. Thank you for all the positive vibes and the messages. Nobody had to get blocked here tonight, which was good that I saw. So kudos to you guys. Thank you to my Patreon supporters, all of my friends who support me in the comments section, that send me DMs. I have a lot of love and respect for all of you guys. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I just want to get out some good information to each and every one of you. So this way, if God forbid you're in a situation, you might think, oh, wait, DutyRon said to do this. So even if I could touch one of you guys and give you guys some direction, that's what I want to do. So I'll speak to you guys on my next video. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you very soon. From my house to yours, let me get that peace sign in there. I'll get it up like this, and I'll end it on love and respect to all. Thank you for all my moderators and all the positive vibes tonight. I'll talk to you soon.